Good afternoon and welcome to another exciting edition of Democracy and the Rule of Law. It is a weird February week, mid-February, I beg your pardon, because of the Harmattan. I mean, this climate change thing is real. But it's all good. We're here to inform you, entertain you, educate you on the program, Democracy and the Rule of Law. We discuss topical issues from the legal point of view. Now, let's quickly take a look at what we're going to be talking about today. Now, we'll basically be talking about security issues in Nigeria today, and we're starting from a bandit leader in Zamfara State, Dogogide, who controls the southern part of the Zamfara forest, has assured that the kidnapped teachers and students of Government Science College, Kagara, in Niger State will soon be released. Dogogide made a promise when he met with the officials of the Niger State government under the intervention of a prominent Islamic scholar, Sheikh Ahmad Mahmoud Gumi in Dutse Magaji of Kutum Kuro Forest. Then after that, we'll move over to Orlu and also local government area of Imo State, where they were thrown into a terrifying mood on the Nigerian military operations in search of camps and lands of Eastern Security Network owned by the indigenous people of Biafra. And now the question is, I mean, the security fight is basically in the north. What are they doing in Orlu? And also is what most Nigerians are asking. We'll be taking a look at that. And still talking security, this time Boko Haram is at it again, as they're believed to be to have hoisted their flags in parts of Mate local government in Borno State. According to military sources, the insurgents repeatedly attacked local government within the week. Then finally, we'll now be taking a look at amnesty, where popular Islamic scholar Sheikh Abubakar Gumi has called on the federal government to give bandits willing to make peace blanket amnesty if the current security situation must be tackled. We're going to be taking a look at just how true that is. Amnesty of bandits will lead actually reduce insecurity in Nigeria. This is what we're going to be talking about today on Democracy and the Rule of Law. We'll go for a break. When we come back, I have my guests. I introduce them and we'll start talking. I'm Solomon Offen. You're welcome to the show. Okay, if you're just tuning in, this is Galaxy Television and the program is Democracy and the Rule of Law. I have a barrister, Tunde Kolawole, will be joining us today. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me, and a beautiful afternoon to all the people listening to us.
Yeah, it is really a beautiful afternoon. I mean, it's not the usual hot, scorching period.
Exactly.
So how is the Harmattan treating you?
Oh, well, I've been trying to be on top of it, wearing warm clothes, and because of COVID-19, one stays indoor most of the time, you know. So
because we heard that the virus thrives in cold.
Exactly.
That's one advantage we had
Exactly.
over the rest of the world with the hot period.
Exactly.
So I would say the cold is kind of mixed feeling here.
It is, yeah, it is. But you know, it's also one cold that carries a lot of dust. And because of that too, it may also be difficult for the COVID virus to also thrive. I'm not a scientist. I'm just hazarding a guess.
Let's just leave it to the scientists, right?
Exactly.
Okay, I also have Barrister Ayobade Babade. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me.
It looks like the Harmattan looks good on you.
Anyway, just trying to just striving it. It's a very beautiful Harmattan in February.
Very weird, beautiful one.
First of its kind in quite a while. But that's to just say, like I said earlier, climate change is real, and we have to, as individuals and as a country, take measures to combat it. Yeah, that's just
okay. Now you're sounding like an environmentalist. Okay, once again, you're welcome to Democracy and the Rule of Law. Let's take a look at the first topic for discussion. The Zamfara bandit leader Dogo Gide, who controlled the southern parts of the Zamfara forest, is assured that the kidnapped teachers and students of Government Science College, Kagara in Niger State, will soon be released. Dogo Gide made a promise when he met with the officials of the Niger State government under the intervention of the prominent Islamic scholar Sheikh Ahmad Mahmoud Gumi in a Dutsi Magaji of Kutunkuru Forest. Gide said though the abductees are not in his camp, he will negotiate with his fellow bandits to hasten their release. He said the abducted persons, whether they were kidnapped by bandits in Zamfara State or any other neighboring state of Niger, Kebbi or Kaduna, will be released soon. Dogo Gide explained that the Fulani had left with no choice and no option than to carry arms and also engage in banditry because of the pressure they faced from all angles. He specifically mentioned the persistent attacks and killings of the Fulani by the vigilante group and Yansakai, followed by the bombardment of their camps by the military. Dogo Gide, however, showed that with the intervention of Sheikh Ahmad Gumi, they would ensure the release of the abducted persons. He also promised to accept the peace process being preached by Sheikh Gumi, provided that the governors were really serious on the issue. Now, when I was reading this story, it came out on Friday, I was like, seriously? Leader of bandits? it sounds more like an organization that have been accepted by CAC, as it were. I mean, how did we get to this point where we now have leaders of bandits, you know, and they boldly come out to say, I'm the leader of bandits, and we will negotiate. You know, I will talk to the other leaders of the other bandits for the release of this person. I mean, there's so many things wrong with that statement on different levels. What's your view on that?
Well, let me say, not just in Nigeria, all over the world, or wherever you have women organization, or wherever get together to achieve a particular objective, you can always be sure that if one person or the other who is going to be appointed the leader, so to say, to coordinate activities of the group. Even among armed robbers, you always find out.
The gang leader.
I mean, they have a gang leader. You have also seen our own, the notorious kidnapper here in Lagos. He has a set of different departments, the armorer, those who provide security, those in charge of catering, and those in charge of even liaising with the Nigerian police force and some of these other security organizations.
Are you talking about the bandit here, or you're talking about...
No. I am laying a foundation as regards that even criminals, they most times would have a structure within which to
very
operate. They are very organized and whatever. Because if there is no discipline, even criminal activities are usually very difficult, if not impossible to. So it's in order to instill discipline that they have a structure, they have leaders, and they have departments within which they carry out their nefarious activities. So I am not surprised that the bandits in Zamfara and most of these other northern states also have their own structures, and also headed by somebody who has been bold enough to come out and say, look, I will want to negotiate on behalf of the government with those who have kidnapped these school children with the purpose of getting them back into the mainstream of a society. They are entitled to whatever structure they might say they want to have and all that. The issue is with Nigeria as a state, a corporate entity, accept that kind of overtures, so to say, from the bandit leaders.
It looks like they've accepted because they've been it looks like they've been negotiating with the government for quite a while.
That is true. For example, we have seen even the Zamfara man being accused of giving some of them incentives like pick-up vans, cows, and then monetary incentives and all that, for them to be able to surrender their weapons and then quit their nefarious states of being the bandits and all that. Now, the unique thing about it is that from my own reading of history and then looking around the world, I have not seen any serious society that goes out to start negotiating with those organized criminals, those who organize crime. with the purpose of making money, of enriching themselves and what have you.
Now this goes beyond negotiation.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks like they have been recognized by the government of that, of those places.
Yes.
Because if it's like okay, there's a terrorist or bandit attack, let's look for them, let's look for the leader and negotiate with the leader. That's a different thing. But it looks like these ones have been recognized. They've done business in the past with the government, and they continue to do business with them. The government of that period recognized them.
Yes, we are still saying the same thing. You see, sometimes criminality also get to a certain level in which the criminals will overwhelm the society. Criminality also get to a certain level at certain times in which the criminals will overwhelm the society to such an extent that the leaders of those society might say, look, the only alternative that we have with these people is either to negotiate with them or sink with them. We have seen a situation now in which the government of Zamfara State, the government of Katsina State and all that, they have seen the way and manner in which the society is hemorrhaging. And they have seen the lack of capacity on the part of the security forces to really be able to rein this in. So those people in government over there are probably caught between the devil and the deep blue sea. And they have weighed all these alternatives, and they are now of the opinion that, look, rather than let these people destroy this society and taking cognizance of the lack of capacity on the part of the security forces, why don't we begin to dialogue with these people? That might be the reason why they have started taking this step, or even rewarding them, buying pickup for them, giving them money. In which some of these pickups that they are even bought for them, the army or the soldiers have found out some of these pickups are now have been reconfigured, have been mounted with anti-aircraft guns and with gunners, and they are now using it even against the Nigerian security forces. Okay. But what I'm doing out of this, it is only in Nigeria we'll be seeing that kind of thing. In most other countries of the world, it is when the country is fighting a war with some other section of society or with some other country that negotiations take place. But not with an organized criminal cartel. Like, it's like we are negotiating like drug barons. Where is it ever done?
Okay, I'll get back to you. I've not forgotten you, Barrister Babade. And let's go over to Ibadan, where I have Barrister Samuel Umesi joining us on the program. I don't know if you can hear me. What do you think about the bandit leader negotiates and recognized by the government, especially in this case now, the government in the northeast, as it were?
Thank you, Solomon. And can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay, looks like we're having issues with him there. Okay, let me hear your view, sir.
Okay, yes. So just like my learned senior said, one is that before a nation gets to the level of negotiating, it has to be a strategy designed by the state as the security strategy. And because the reality is, if it is not well done, the possibility of it being counterproductive is very high, and that's what we are saying. So I think so. But Nigeria has a relatively bad precedent, because everybody just realize the fact that during the Nigeria Delta issue, there was amnesty, an amnesty program was done, but that was a program that was done and was largely successful. And how the amnesty program works is this: after
let's not jump the gun. We're going to take the amnesty.
So what I'm saying that, so that strategy they're adopting is not a strategy to adopt, because if not, it will be counterproductive and it will do more harm than good to the state. And that's what we are saying now. You can see that the pickups and stops and things that are given to them are being used against the security forces of the state. And that's the result of a not well thought out structure. So, and that's one, but to the recognition of them, and that's one thing that we need to understand as a country, that until we get things right, things will continually be wrong. And so we can at a point say that no, let us move on from here. Because when there's a likelihood, or they are being seen as being accepted, then they are going to become stronger and stronger until you say, no, let's put an end to it, let's break this, and let's begin to chart a new course. Because these are criminal acts, and it's not different from it committed anywhere. So it's like, are you now beginning to say that the act of kidnapping and murder is being suspended in those regions and all that? What are we pushing out to the public? What kind of message are we pushing? So we should be considerate of all those messages we are pushing out in whatever we are doing. So that's one thing that we need to understand as a country and as a nation.
Okay, let me go back to Ibadan, where I understand Barrister Samuel Messi is there with us. So let me have your view on that.
Yeah, thank you, Solomon. I've listened to the panelists on. Can you hear me? I've listened to the panelists on their discussion on negotiation with the bandits. I think my thought is this: if the government say that they want to negotiate with the bandits, I would want to ask on what basis. I think negotiation is a subtle acceptance of failure, because what we have in our hand is a security breakdown, which government on its own is supposed to handle and tackle critically. But when government begin to negotiate with bandits, or begin to take steps to negotiate with bandits, who on their own are not even recognized by the government, I wouldn't say that the government is now lacking in the capacity to take care of the security situation of the country. However, if the leader have come out to say that they can negotiate and they can get the abducted boys out, then we'll have to ask him the question, what is his intention? Did he submit to government on his own volition, or did they have any ulterior motive behind that? But however, whatever be the case, I think at this point, government should not go into negotiating with criminals, because Nigeria is a sovereign entity, a corporate entity with a government, which should not be seen to be negotiating with criminals. That is to say, giving the impression that they are now helpless and cannot do any other thing than to negotiate, to bargain, to trade deals on how to release the boys that have been adopted. But government should take adequate steps, critical steps, in order to do what? To liberate and to take care of the security situation of the country. That is not a subject of negotiation with criminals. That's my take on that.
I don't have any issues with negotiating with criminals, because, I mean, as it were, the situation is seriously out of hand, that the government have no choice but to negotiate with them sometimes. But the issue I have is the fact that they have a recognized leader. I mean, according to the information here, this Dogo Gede guy controls the southern part of Zamfara forest. I mean, he has his kingdom, as it were, or the jurisdiction where he's ruling, and he's recognized. I mean, the fact that he's even on the news, and the fact that he said he's going to negotiate with the leaders of other bandits, which means it's not the only one. That's where I have a problem with, you know. So let me have your say on that angle.
Well, if he calls himself a leader of the bandits, maybe I will not take it away from him, because as have been said, in every organized human setting, in every organization, whether criminal or legitimate, there may be somebody that takes the shot or calls the shot, somebody that the other people be listening to. That maybe assume himself as a person of a leader. But the point is, it appears from the setting that a particular part of the country or a particular location has been given over to the bandits. They now operate free and fair. That is to say, they can now come out to negotiate on government on how to operate within their own region. I think that should not be an acceptable situation, because unfortunately, this issue of negotiation and all that is as a result of failure of government to handle the security situation of the country. It's as a result of failure. Ordinarily, we should not be talking about negotiating with a bandit, whether as a leader of the bandit or as a coordinator or even as an individual. Government who have ordinarily on its own taken care of the situation, not to talk of negotiation. That is, to me, is a situation which should not be acceptable. Thank you.
Okay, just stay with us. I'll come back to you. Now,
may I quickly interject before?
Okay.
You see, sometimes I have noticed that we in southern Nigeria tend to play the game of the ostrich. We engage in self-deception. This idea of criminals having territories and being recognized. It's not peculiar to the northern parts of the country too. Even here around us in Lagos, to find out that almost all the different parts of the state, almost all the different parts of Oyo, Ogun and all that, they are partitioned to different territories and all that, man by one strong man or the other, that you hardly can venture to those areas without some permission, without some knowing to see. And the politicians and even the security people know these persons, so that when they have things to do, some of the questions they usually would ask is, who is even in that area? Who is to talk to?
That's
so basically, it's what is already happening in the different parts of the country, especially in southern Nigeria, especially in western Nigeria, that is mainly being replicated over there.
That's our next point of discourse here.
Go to a place like a river state, the whole place is partitioned into different criminal cartels and landscape that are manned by different warlords.
Just like you just mentioned now, the government, either the federal government or the state government, know these people, know where they stay. Now, when this Boko Haram thing started, definitely not in this dispensation, there were theories that the federal government know these people.
Of course.
So, why can't they fish them out? Tend to be the questions in a lot of Nigerians, minds. They know these people. So, with these, this is kind of giving legitimacy to those assumptions.
Yeah, I think you go back to the major Nigerian problem, which is just corruption. All these people, there are people in government who it's much more than just assumption or assertion. There are people in government who are having some form of benefit from this. We saw in the height of the Boko Haram fight, where it was in need that $2.1 billion was meant for arms and ammunition to fight against these bandits, entered into private pockets. And so as this goes on, the private individuals are benefiting from these. And that's so even in all these areas that are divided into cartels, those people there are making results to some people in government. That's why they are still there. Anyone who goes against such, if for example, if there's no one in government doing that, it's easy for them to just rush out and then be able to stop it. But because there's some form of return, so it's just the corrupt system in Nigeria that makes it seems impossible for us to fight those battles.
So in other words, the negotiation just goes far beyond the release of kidnappers. They have remuneration,
pecuniary benefits,
because financial benefits.
Like the kidnapping generally is okay when it's a crime, and so when it occurs, the security forces ought to go there, arrest those criminals, and bring them to book. It's private individuals who can enough for I don't want my relative to be killed and all that. Out of that fear, go and negotiate with kidnappers for the release of their own loved ones. But when a state is not negotiating with kidnappers, then something is fundamentally wrong with the security architecture of that state. And that really is the main issue that we should be addressing there. What is wrong and how can we correct that security issue so that it doesn't become a norm? Because now, in that case, that means when state government and when governments are beginning to negotiate with terrorists or with bandits and all that, then we are having a failure of that state.